SL Featured is the premier destination for the best stories in Ball State sports. My name is Jordan Klimes. I'm joined by Griffin Leonard. And Griffin, we have a great slate of stories for the month of April.
Jordan, the school year's wrapping up, but still some Easter eggs to be found from these stories as we continue to hear about the journeys of these Ball State athletes.
Well, let's get into it. This is SL Featured, presented by Victory Honda of Muncie.
Victory Honda of Muncie supports the students of Ball State SportsLink. Behind-the-scenes access and off-the-field lives of student athletes, SL Featured is the home for the best stories in Ball State sports. This is the award-winning SL Featured, presented by Victory Honda of Muncie.
The life of a student athlete is always jam-packed. And for Jessica Velez, she adds editor-in-chief to that already busy itinerary. Here's her story, produced by Maddy Howell.
Have an athlete who is doing so much off the track. I feel cooler when I'm around her. I like to brag about her.
I've never met anyone who's as hardworking as she is, who can juggle everything that she does, because yeah, she's involved in the magazine, yeah, she's an athlete, but she is the DEI representative for the MAC. She's on SAC, a bunch of other stuff that I'm forgetting right now, because just the multitude of work that she puts herself in and dedicates herself to and genuinely cares about is so immense that I cannot possibly imagine ever doing that myself.
I knew that I enjoyed storytelling and that I liked building a community through doing it. And I love magazines. I love that you can be a little bit more creative with them and have a little bit more creative freedom with them than doing a newspaper, so to speak. And yeah, now I run one. I'm the editor-in-chief of this lovely magazine. All bearings. Man, I love it. We work so hard on this. I didn't think I could do it, but I put out my first one and I got a lot of compliments on it. I had a lot of people telling me that they liked the stories and that they loved the cover. And I've gotten to the point where I'm a senior, and so I can kind of reflect back and think, okay, if I wasn't a journalism major, what would I be doing? I cannot name a single thing. I genuinely think that this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. It's one of the most rewarding things that I do right now. And even though I feel like I'm constantly on the clock sometimes, I still love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Going into this profession means that you have to leave your comfort zone a lot. And as a Ball State student that is studying journalism, that means that you have to leave campus a lot, which it has so much to offer that people just do not know about. And I've met incredible people, built great relationships through just writing stories about people doing things that are very important to them. And that's been my favorite part, knowing that I have so much to offer and this city also has so much to offer me, and it feels almost like a mutually beneficial relationship. But I don't know, I like giving back to the place that's kind of allowing me to grow and to better myself.
When that magazine was coming out in the fall, the first edition of it or whatever, she was doing a lot. She was handing out magazines herself, going around, walking around and giving them to people and making sure they got distributed. And she takes care of her people, but also cares about her work a lot, which is really cool to see.
The type of leader she is amazing. Organization, running a team, and making sure that we all have a cohesive mindset and direction is something she excels at.
I didn't join student media until I was a junior, which it's worked out for me, and I've been very lucky to start it that late and still ended up where I'm at right now. Take the leap, do something else outside of your sport. It's so beneficial for you. It's hard. It is really hard sometimes, but it will take you very far. And you're only an athlete for so long, so you gotta do something else.
Motivation looks different for everyone. Softball's Kaitlyn Gibson has found a unique way to showcase who she competes for. Here's her story, produced by Dylan Budd and Sam Klug.
1-3-2, 1-3-2.
Before each game, I'm a very look good, play good kind of person. When I was in high school, I used to go to my mom's office and she would have to braid my hair before every single high school game. And if she couldn't do it, I went to my sister's work and she did it. they said the bubble things were kind of in, so I started doing that. The same 2 braids, put my hair into a ponytail, I did like 3 little bubbles, and then that's where I added the purple bow. And then now where I'm at college, I kind of do the same exact thing, but now I have 3 bows. The person who got me into the sport of softball was my stepdad, Randy, who has been in my life since I've been 2 years old. And he is the reason why like I kind of fell in love with the sport and like the process through it. He would be the one teaching me my swing and, you know, teaching me how to hit this rise ball, how to hit this change up, and taking me to the cages because he was a coach.
When she was 10, 11, she wanted to play softball, and me being a softball coach, we kind of connected and got really close, and pretty much I taught her everything that she knew until she left and went to Ball State.
He has always made me feel like I had a father when I never had one, so he's just honestly probably one of the greatest things that I've ever had come into my life. So his mom passed my senior year of high school, and his favorite color to wear was purple for her, and that's what he wore at her funeral. And so after that, we had a home game right like a couple days after that funeral, and I was like, you know what, I think we all should wear purple for him. I think it would mean a lot to him. So the day we all came to the field, we put all the purple bows in, we all stood in the line, and we had him turn around, and we all stood behind so like he could just see our hair.
When my team walked in with their jerseys and the purple bows, it hit me. I kind of broke down.
The struggle of like finding a place for me honestly started at a young age. I always was the tallest one on the basketball teams, the biggest one on the volleyball teams. Like coming to Ball State, I felt like I had nowhere like, you know, to be on the team, and I was like, I didn't know what to do. Coming out and saying like I am struggling was probably the most important factor of me growing with the team and growing within myself.
What she does with Cheer for Change is incredible. I think it's really good for our sport, but also athletes as a whole. Just the fact that she's showing her heart on her sleeve in a sense, I think is beautiful and courageous, and I love it.
We can all struggle together, and that's why like we made that group, is to sit there and have experiences and be supported by one another. It's probably been one of the greatest blessings for these athletes this year. Now I have a big white bow, and on the sides where it hangs, there's one side that has a cross on it, and the other side is my verse, which is Matthew 28:20. My former teammate gave me the Athlete's Bible to start reading because I wanted to start somewhere, and literally that was like the first verse that I stumbled upon, and I was like, oh my gosh. That verse is, I am with you always, which just proves that God is always with me and has a hand laying on my back. I'm shifting my whole gear of, you know, how I use my faith to play. And I thank him for the greatest days of my life, and I thank him for, you know, the worst days of my life. It just makes me feel, like I said, like very whole and supported no matter what.
Going for the double play. Can they turn it? Yes! Beautiful work by the fielders.
Our lives are engulfed with sports on a daily basis, but I think it serves as a reminder for her that there's something bigger out there, and that she's not defined by her sport.
I'm more than my sport, and I'm more than a little scoreboard or a little stat. I love having them in my hair and knowing that I'm playing for somebody, playing for something more than me, and also that it's kind of just like my safe place. So.
Ball State athletes consistently nail it in their sports, and Brenna Lehrke brings that definition to a whole new level, starting her own nail salon company during her freshman year at college. This is her story, produced by Ashlyn Owens and Drew Wilmot.
Brenna is just a ball of energy. She's someone that just comes into practice or whatever it is. And she's just always laughing. She's always picking people up, cracking jokes. Even if it's times that she shouldn't be cracking jokes, she will be cracking jokes.
Brenna, she's so funny. She's like one of the funniest people I know. She's so passionate about what she does, and she's so passionate in triple jump and long jump too, and it's just so admirable. You know, you can always go to her for anything you need, truly, so she's just a great person to have in your corner.
I have a long practice. I'm ready to go home, get in bed. Brenna doesn't get to go home and get in bed. She goes home and sits in her swivel chair and does nails until 9 o'clock at night. So she's just so hardworking, and I admire that about her.
I was going through a really hard time freshman year, and I kind of was like, I'm a creative person and it helps me kind of shut my brain off. So I was kind of trying to find anything that would kind of help me cope with like the anxiety of being away from home and just all of that stuff. I started on my sister and did her nails like literally constantly. And I've always been a super creative person, and like I love to draw, paint, do puzzles, things like that. And so I was like, you know what? I've always loved getting my nails done, but they're so expensive and I always leave like unhappy. And I kind of started teaching myself in the dorm freshman year.
Just turned into a weekly, every couple of weeks type of thing. And she just got better and better, and it was just like more and more impressive every single time. Never went back to a nail salon since, so. I was doing nails for like a second there, and I didn't really have like an Instagram or anything because I had really no intention of turning it into something like this. But then I realized that I'm like, whoa, I could kind of turn this into like a hobby and like something that could kind of help me like get through college financially. They all kind of like came in on the experience with me, and like they've all been here from the start, so it's super cool for them to like be there too and supporting me. And that's part of the reason why I still do it, because it's super fun to like do their nails and know that I'm doing something for them that they're going to like, and that they feel like they can really like get the whole experience out of it too.
Every athlete's path to Muncie, Indiana has its twists and turns. For Wil Basilio, his road from Ontario, Canada was not straightforward. Here's his story, produced by Ryan Stojets.
My name is Wil Basilio. I'm an outside hitter from Ballinafad, Ontario, Canada. I grew up with 3 older brothers, so my childhood was kind of whatever they do, I do. One of them eventually got into volleyball. Through him, I kind of started playing and then got into the club scene, and then I really like this, and I kind of decided then I want to take it further. Everything about me as an athlete, and just a lot about a person as well, I can attest to just growing up with my brothers. But when I was younger, it was a bit annoying growing up with them because they're always teasing me and stuff like that, but now that I'm older, looking back, I'm super thankful for it. Having the opportunity to play for my club, Pac-Man Volleyball, having those couple of years of development with those coaches and with that club was I don't think I'd be where I am right now. I can say that confidently if I didn't have the opportunity to play for the club I did and meet the people I did. It was pretty quick. I got a text from my dad being like, oh hey, this guy from Ball State, he's a coach. So I sent him a message, and then the same night he called me, and then the first thing I remember, it was kind of the, hey bro, what's up? And then I was instantly man, this guy's just one of the boys, he was just super chill, I could tell right away.
Wil was interesting because I kind of got led on to him from a friend that was like, you should see this outside, not sure if he's someone that you think can fit into your team, but the kid can pass. So that was the key, right? He can pass the ball.
From what I learned is Canada recruits a little bit different than the US. The US is kind of oh hey, I'm so-and-so from this school. Then you come get a visit, and then it's kind of okay, here's your offer, let us know by now. Whereas Canada was a lot different. It was kind of I met the coaches when I was kind of sophomore year. And then up until senior year, the schools that I really liked, I was texting with them a lot, so it was a lot longer of a process. And then I was thankful enough that Donan was able to kind of adapt his recruiting style to what I was doing in Canada, and that was a huge part of me coming here.
We offered him in the lobby of the courtyard downtown, and and I thought he was gonna commit on the spot. He didn't, but I thought he was, and I kind of left thinking, if this guy doesn't commit, I'm gonna be pissed, man. Like, it sucks when you feel like you're really well connected, like on a personal level, and then they choose to go someplace else because you're like, bad decision, dude. Like, this is the spot for you. And so when Wil committed, it was like, you always feel good when you got the guys that are gonna elevate our program.
Before every game I step into, I'm always kind of like, I'm surprised that I'm a little more excited than I am nervous. So I think the big thing was kind of walking into Worthing the first time, like with the jersey on and stuff like that. That's where I kind of got like, oh man, like I'm here, this is it. So that was the first like kind of walk-in was definitely the big kind of, oh, this is it moment. And it was a super, super cool feeling. Definitely won't forget that. Even though my role has been kind of like changing up and down a little bit, it hasn't been too stressful just because like something that's been super helpful is just the guys, especially the starters and also the coaches. When I get like, for example, against Lewis, like T goes down, that's a big loss. And then me having to go in and start, I could tell like the coaches weren't really stressed out about that. The guys on the court weren't really stressed out. They're just kind of like, oh, like what's up, Wil, let's get going.
Where I see him as being a big leader in our program, and he's already doing it. I don't even want to think too far into the future. It's like, it's kind of happening right now.
We're a really good team. We have a really, really good group of guys. So just coming in every day and just putting the head down and kind of grinding through like the tough losses and the big wins. So I think we play some really good volleyball and like we have a really good mindset in terms of that type of stuff. So just kind of not getting too ahead of ourselves and just taking it game by game, day by day.
Chop wood, carry water. That's the mantra of the Ball State baseball team. And shortstop Dylan Grego has fully bought in to trusting the process. Here is his story produced by Matthew Gilley.
My name is Dylan Grego, and I'm a shortstop. I got recruited out of Kansas City, but growing up playing travel ball, you kind of hit different areas in the U.S. So they happened to see me in Indianapolis, Atlanta, and Kansas City, and I was lucky enough to get connected with them, and it was great from there on out. My favorite memory as a team was probably winning the tournament at Kent State and dogpiling, and a personal memory would be probably my first home run at home versus Butler. Everybody's goal this year is the double ring. It's never happened in this program's history, and so we're going to take it one game at a time, try to stack as many wins as we can, get that regular season championship, and move on to the tournament, punch our ticket.
And we are now joined by Olivia Warren, one of the co-producers on the Anthony Shalakov story. Olivia, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So what is something that you learned about Anthony during the process of telling the story?
We learned a lot about Anthony during this. After our initial interview, we kind of sat down with Anthony and just kind of talked casually with him, and that's kind of where a lot of the content from our story initially came from, is when we learned more about his dad and his father and their experiences in Russia. And that's we learned that his dad was actually in the Russian military before he immigrated to America, and that was kind of the initial reason we decided to interview Anthony's dad.
When you learn major information like that in the interview process, how does that change your plan? How does that change the dynamic of how you're going to tell that story?
Yeah, so our plan for this story kind of changed multiple times throughout the process, just kind of as our interviews went on. Like initially when we first pitched the story, it was kind of just, hey, this guy, he has a cool nickname, his nickname's Ant-Man, and he used to be in the military. Like, we want to interview him and see what we get. And then after that first interview, we were like, oh, his dad's in the Russian military. This could be a cool parallel of Russian military to American military. And then when we interviewed his father, we kind of learned more about their family dynamic and his parents' experience immigrating over to America. So the story kind of changed and formulated as each interview went on, and then we kind of ended up with this ultimate family story that we have now.
It sounds like you had your work cut out for you. And in your first story that you've done as a freshman, how does the challenges and the just the experience that you got from doing this story, how does that kind of set you up for the work you're going to be doing over the next couple of years in the program?
Yeah, I'm personally super excited to continue telling stories. I think it kind of puts a little bit of pressure. Like, we found a really kind of hard-hitting story that we weren't really expecting when we first went into that. And I think I kind of want to take that momentum with me for the next couple years, looking for more like in-depth stories and seeing what I can truly like get out of the athletes that's not level, like on the surface that we initially put in the pitch.
You said this was a hard-hitting story. What about this story inspired you?
I think honestly, just kind of the work ethic and determination of Anthony kind of really truly inspires me. Like, when we initially talked to him, he was getting very emotional about his discharge from the military. Like, that was his passion. He didn't know what he was going to do with his life when that kind of chapter of his life ended. And now here he is playing at Ball State and just kind of continuing, and he has goals for his future of what he's going to do after college. And I think that's just kind of really inspiring, of having this major life setback that kind of throws your life for a total change, and then kind of figuring it out even just as a sophomore like Anthony is.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. And now the anticipation is finally over. Let's get to it. This is the Anthony Shalakov story.
My dad, he played a lot in Russia because I like tennis. He was happy that I liked it and just always supported me through my entire junior career.
I was Anthony's first coach, if you will. When Anthony was no older than 4, I started bringing him to tennis courts just to hit the ball. So at some point I realized I cannot even hit a ball with him because it could be dangerous for me. All these people talk to us not because of us. They're talking to us because Anthony is playing so well and he's a known person, and people just talk to us because we're his parents.
So both my parents are from Moscow, Russia. They immigrated here in the 90s. They wanted a better life for me and my sister.
It's like moving from Earth to Mars or backwards, something like that. But there was absolutely no opportunity to speak up, to complain to anybody, to get to police or anything like that. That channels didn't exist, so you're on your own completely. Coming to the United States, however, they're like police is present. There are like ways to speak up. There is no fear of, walking on the street and you get a bullet all of a sudden. To me, to be American is an honor.
And I had the opportunity to play tennis up at West Point, get a great education, and serve my country in the end. And I thought it was a win-win-win. During basic training, didn't know really exactly what to expect. I knew it was going to be hard. I knew the days were going to be long, but we'd start out waking up at 4:45 a.m. to banging on our doors, music blasting. Well, it's not a normal college schedule.
Left side, but reacted.
Woke up in the middle of the night on the floor in my barracks. That's our dorms. And I woke up, there were paramedics around me. Apparently I had a seizure in my sleep. This never happened to me before. I was shocked. They told me I had something in my head because of the seizure. According to the rules in the Army, I wasn't allowed to stay. So they just medically separated me, gave me an honorable discharge. I broke down.
Talking to their coaches, it was not an athletic decision, it was an academy decision. And so he was looking for a place to go, made it work for him to come to Ball State.
I met some of the guys on the team. It was just a great fit between us. Seemed like the right place to be.
He's just what a coach looks for in terms of his work ethic, his attitude, his maturity. Once he visited, I think within 24 hours he committed, and we're extremely happy to have him.
Sometimes I forget that I am first generation American. It's just fantastic to be here. I love this country. My parents always tell me, if people ask you, you're not Russian, you're American.
I think he's a better person than I am, which is, I think that's what it should be. Your parents provide grounds and conditions to children to become better than you. And I truly believe this is the case, and that's what makes me really happy and proud of Anthony.
That'll do it for this episode of SL Featured. And Griffin, it was a great one.
I had a blast, Jordan. If you want to see more content like this, make sure to follow us on all socials at BSU SportsLink.
And a special thank you to Victory Honda of Muncie for sponsoring the show. This has been SL Featured.